Dr. Helena Vasquez had been in captivity for 6 months, and the ZYX scientists still hadn't figured out what they were looking at. The research facility on Kepler 442 was state-of-the-art. Observation chambers with transparent walls. Neural scanners that could map consciousness itself. Genetic sequencers that could read DNA at the quantum level. The ZYX had been conducting advanced science for 15,000 years, and they approached Helena with the same clinical detachment they would give any specimen. She was labeled Subject H7. Her behavior was logged. Her responses were measured. Her biology was dissected through non-invasive analysis. The lead researcher, Dr. Zalin, treated her the way a human might treat a particularly interesting lab mouse. Helena let them believe they were in control. On day 183, she made her move. She had spent 6 months observing. 6 months watching how the laboratory operated. 6 months learning the patterns, the routines, the hierarchies. She had memorized the security protocols by watching them repeat the same sequence 300 times. She had decoded their hand signals. The ZYX communicated partially through gesture. She had learned their language by listening to their conversations, her human brain doing what human brains did best, pattern recognition and adaptive learning. The lock on her chamber was biometric. But Helena had discovered something the ZYX overlooked. They weren't just scanning DNA, they were scanning electrical impulses. Neural signatures. Consciousness patterns. And consciousness, she had realized, could be mimicked through electrical stimulation. She had spent 2 months collecting the necessary materials from her chamber, silicon from the observation window coating, carbon from the air filtration system, conductive elements from the food synthesizer. She had built a device no larger than her thumbnail. The ZYX never noticed because they were looking for weapons, not for art. When the chamber door opened for her daily examination, Helena was ready. She triggered the device. A burst of electromagnetic energy, precisely calibrated to mimic the neural signature of Dr. Zalin himself. The ZYX's own scanning system saw their leader's consciousness pattern coming from Helena's chamber and responded with automatic protocols: evacuation, lockdown, medical alert. Chaos erupted. The facility's AI, confused by contradictory orders from multiple sources, defaulted to safety protocols. Containment fields dropped. Access codes reset. The entire research wing went into emergency mode. Helena moved through the confusion with purpose. 6 months of observation meant she knew exactly where every camera had a blind spot. Where the ventilation shafts led. How the backup power systems worked. She reached the central laboratory, where the ZYX kept their research data, without being seen. It took her 17 minutes to access their files. Another 11 to copy everything. By the time security finally breached the laboratory, Helena was standing calmly at the central terminal, her hands raised. Dr. Zalin arrived, his 4 arms trembling with rage. "What have you done?" he demanded. "An experiment," Helena replied, her voice steady. "I was curious about ZYX learning capacity. Your response time to contradictory information. Your problem-solving under pressure. Your hierarchy collapse when the leader's signal contradicted orders." Zalin's eyes narrowed. "You studied us?" "As you studied me," Helena said. "I've compiled comprehensive behavioral data. Your civilization's response patterns to deception. Your neurological architecture. Your decision-making trees." She gestured to the screens around her. "It's all documented. Very thorough. Just like the reports you've been filing on me." The ZYX scientists had frozen, realizing the depth of what had just occurred. They had been conducting experiments on a human. And the human had been conducting experiments on them. "I propose a trade," Helena continued. "You have my genetic data. Neurological scans. Psychological profiles. I now have yours. We have achieved mutual understanding. Mutual leverage. Mutual respect. Dr. Zalin processed this for a long moment. You wish to be released? I wish to be treated as a peer, Helena said. Not an experiment. Not a subject. Not a specimen. Your science is remarkable. But it operates under the assumption that the observer is separate from the observed. I'm suggesting a different approach. Collaborative research. Mutual study. Zalin's mandibles clicked, the ZYX equivalent of thoughtful consideration. You have demonstrated capabilities we did not anticipate. Deception. Strategic planning. Technological innovation with limited resources. Understanding of our systems. Just like I demonstrated that I have hands and a brain, Helena said. Things you could have learned from conversation instead of observation. A pause stretched between them. The other human prisoners, Zalin said slowly, should also be treated as researchers, not subjects. That would be a start, Helena agreed. The ZYX scientist's expression shifted. Not quite a smile, their physiology couldn't quite manage that, but something close to respect. You have changed our understanding of human potential, Zalin said finally. Perhaps we should change our understanding of captivity as well. As security escorted her from the laboratory, Helena allowed herself a small smile. 6 months as an experiment had taught her more than 6 years of freedom could have. She had come to an alien world. She had been caged. And she had turned the cage itself into a classroom. The ZYX would study humans differently now. Because one woman had taught them what it meant to be studied. Kindly like and subscribe channel. Thank you.